You've seen the headlines. You heard the version the world was handed: tragic accident, drowned while on vacation, end of story. That's the narrative that rolled out fast, neat, and quiet. But I was raised not to accept the easy version. My father taught me that surviving isn't just getting through something, it's carrying the truth forward. He used to say, Black survival in itself is Black excellence. He didn't drop that line for clout. He meant it as armor, as instruction, as a lens to see the world clearly. So this isn't about drama, it's about context. I'm not here to accuse. I'm here to speak what I remember, what he gave me to hold on to if the unthinkable happened. The world got a short sentence. He went into the water. He didn't come back. Accident. Closed. But the space around that sentence felt heavy, shifting details. Silence from the one other person who came back, and the weight of a last message. He left without shouting it to the world. I'm here now because he left me something quiet, a private direction. If I'm gone, don't let them make me small. Tell them what I gave you, not the noise, just the rhythm. So I'm starting with the rhythm. I'm starting with what he taught me, how he looked at me, how he measured the ocean, not with fear, but with that calm resolve I always knew. This is my opening. The world got the surface. I'm here to begin showing the layers beneath. Asterisk I grew up hearing him say things most people only put in sound bites, then act like they don't mean anything. He didn't just talk about surviving. He built survival into everything he did. Black survival in itself is Black excellence, he'd say, not as a metaphor, but like a map. He meant, keep standing, keep speaking, keep carrying truth, even when the world tries to flatten you into a headline or a stereotype. That wasn't philosophy for him. It was practical. It was instruction. It was the way he raised me to see the difference between noise and signal dot. So when the world got the shortest version, he went into the water. He didn't come back. Accident. I heard the gaps. I felt them. Because survival wasn't a simple sentence in our house. It was the thread in every conversation. It was the quiet look before he stepped in to protect. The narrative they gave everyone left out texture. It left out the way he measured things, how he watched the tide, how he checked on me first, how he didn't rush, but also didn't hesitate. That calm resolve he carried wasn't careless. It was awareness. People talked about the tragedy. They didn't ask what he was thinking in the seconds before. They didn't hold space for how he moved, like someone who cared, not like someone caught off guard. They packaged it in the neat box of accident and moved on to the next scroll. That's not the kind of story he would let settle without question. He taught me to ask, to push, to not accept the version that's easiest to digest when the real version is heavier, more complicated, and deserves more respect. And here's the thing, those shifting details. The silence from the one who came back, the way the official account slid into place with almost no follow-up. It wasn't just confusion. It felt like something was being smoothed over by default. Not because of malice necessarily, but because that's what happens when people are scared of making things messy. My dad didn't do messy for attention. He did complexity for understanding. So I'm here to bring some of that complexity forward. He also left me a quiet direction. Not a dramatic manifesto, nothing that would make headlines by itself. Just a voice note tucked away with a title that said, if I'm gone, it wasn't fear, it was preparation. He trusted me to carry the rhythm of what he stood for without twisting it into something it wasn't. He said, don't let them shrink the story. Tell them what I gave you. Don't feed the noise. Keep the shape. That's why I'm not here to shout conspiracy. I'm here to lay out what I remember, what he gave me, and what the gaps around the public version made me feel. So this isn't the end of questions. It's the start of a different kind of listening. You can keep accepting the short version, or you can hold both, the simplicity they handed out and the complexity he lived. Either way, I'm the one who carries him. I'm the one who knows what he said, how he acted, and what survival really looked like in our silence and our ordinary mornings. Asterisk, he didn't leave a manifesto. He left a quiet file labeled only, "If I'm gone." It wasn't dramatic. It wasn't a threat. It was a compass dot in that recording. His voice was the same one I heard at breakfast, on late nights when we talked about the world. When he'd lean in and say something sharp and true but soft, so it landed. He didn't speculate. He didn't build fear. He said things like, "People will try to make the story simple. Don't let them. Give them the rhythm, not the noise. If they start asking the wrong questions, redirect them to what matters, who. You are what we built, how I showed up. Keep the truth in its full shape. Don't let grief or clicks compress it." He reminded me that his life had layers the headlines never saw, that some voices would try to flatten complexity into a soundbite, and that I had a responsibility, not to fight wild theories, but to keep the core clear. He told me how survival looked from where he stood: quiet endurance, the choice to protect without spectacle, the weight of showing up even when it cost. He didn't ask me to shout. He asked me to hold dot. I replay that message when the world gets loud. I listen to how he says certain words, how he never wanted his life turned into a mystery for views, but he also didn't want it erased by easy explanations. That recording became my anchor. It gave me permission to speak, but it also gave me the shape of what to say and what to leave alone. I could have kept it private. I could have let the neat version slide and protected the silence, but he didn't want his story to be smoothed over by default. He wanted context. He trusted me with it. So now I'm doing what he asked, starting with the rhythm, bringing out the layers, and not letting the simple version be the only version anyone remembers. Asterisk, what they gave you was a headline. He went into the water. He didn't come back. Accident. That was the shape of it for most people: a sentence, a scroll, a move on moment. But I was there in the quiet space right before that line got written. I remember the way he looked at the ocean, not like someone careless, but like someone reading its mood. He didn't step in blindly. He measured it. He paused. He turned just for a second to check on me the way he always did, making sure I was okay. Then stepped forward with that calm resolve he carried like armor. He wasn't reckless. He was deliberate. He wasn't panicked. He was present. He didn't rush and he didn't hesitate. That's the version no one saw in the short summary. They didn't hear the soft exhale he took before moving. They didn't see the moment where he looked back at me, not as a warning, but as reassurance. They didn't know the way his shoulders set, the small tightening of his jaw that meant he was doing what he had to do. The water. That day looked normal, deceptive, quiet in a way that lures you in. He knew that. That's why he didn't just walk recklessly into it. He watched. He felt. He made his choice, and then everything shifted fast. Afterward, the narrative flattened it. No texture. No pause, just a neat box. Drowning, accident, closed. But that box skipped over how he moved, what he saw, and what he gave me with that glance, like a silent, "I've got you." He gave me trust. He gave me strength. He gave me context, and then the ocean pulled him away, It's hard to explain the hollow that came after, not because the ending was sudden, but because the world tried to seal it with a single easy version. While leaving the layers I lived with untouched, he was never about the easy version. He lived complexity. He believed in nuance, so watching people accept a thin headline without asking more felt like watching the story of him shrink in real time. I'm not here to rewrite what happened in a sensational way. I'm here to add the missing lines, what he did, how he looked, what he carried into that moment. He didn't drift. He chose. He didn't panic. He acted, and what followed wasn't just a consequence of the wave. It was the culmination of his protection, his instinct, his quiet commitment. Asterisk, there were two people in the water that day. One came back, one didn't. The man who returned, he didn't speak loud. He didn't parade a story. He carried something. In his posture, like the weight of what happened was a private agreement between him and my father. That silence wasn't empty. It wasn't avoidance for the sake of mystery. In the version I'm sharing, it was their unspoken pact. He came back looking like someone who had seen the edge of something sharp and didn't want to cut anyone else with it. We didn't trade versions for the cameras. We didn't rehearse a narrative. There was a moment, just a breath, where we both understood that some things weren't going to be turned into headlines. People ask why he never gave a public account. Maybe he was in shock. Maybe he was protecting the quiet. Maybe he knew the shape of what happened and didn't want the story to get twisted into speculation. In my telling, his silence was respect for the chaos, for the loss, for the complexity. It also left a gap for the world to fill. And when the world fills gaps without context, it makes stories smaller, louder, and less true. So when you look back at the official version, remember, there was a second person there. He lived through the same current. He saw what I didn't. He came back carrying both the fact of survival and the shape of what was lost. We didn't need to explain it to anyone. We understood. That quiet understanding is part of the story too, one the headlines didn't make room for. The chaos after he went under was immediate people running, the other man coming back, shaken, responders diving in. They fought for him with everything they had. Compressions, breaths, urgency layered over grief. I watched them try to pull him back from the current's grip and felt the shift when hope turned into stillness. In that silence, the private message he left me echoed, tell them the rhythm, not the noise. That moment wasn't just loss. It was the start of how I'd carry him forward. Asterisk, I'm not here to feed rumors. I'm here to fill the holes in the version they gave you with what I actually know. The neat headline they released flattened him, left out how he measured the ocean, how he checked on me, how silence was his language. I'm adding context. Not inventing drama. Every detail I share comes from what he taught me or what I lived beside him. If you have something real, an eyewitness memory, a fact that fits the truth, bring it respectfully, because truth needs witnesses, not whispers. If it's just noise, don't spread it. The line between speculation and evidence is the line between honoring him and distorting him. He chose nuance over simplicity. And I choose to protect that by refusing to let his story be flattened into gossip or easy explanations. This is the moment the narrative shifts. I'm carrying it forward on my terms, with integrity, and I won't let silence be mistaken for absence. Asterisk. He showed me that surviving and speaking truth go together, and I'm not letting his story get chopped into headlines. I'll keep putting out what matters, real moments, real details, without turning it into noise. If you have something that helps fill in what happened, bring it respectfully. Don't spread stuff that just muddies the water. People will try to simplify or spin it, but I'm holding the full picture. His voice is still in everything I do. His choices still guide me. This isn't the end of the story. It's me choosing how the next part begins. I promise to keep him whole. No shortcuts, no rumors, just the truth carried forward.